Well, now this seems interesting. Hello everybody, my name is MeisterBloo, and today I took a look at the first episode of Unlimited Fafnir, a new show coming out this wintry, springy season. And it's another show where giant monsters came out of nowhere and just started attacking everybody. However, this time the monsters are called dragons, and they do have some pretty nifty looking designs, at least from what we got to see of what they showed us of the monsters. They look actually pretty decent. They look like kind of like Cthulhu monsters or something. Something similar to the giant like Cthulhu-like being that you see in the background of like the very first episode of Digimon. But yes, the premise of this show is about these giant monsters who are attacking humanity, and all of a sudden people start coming up, like appearing throughout the world who have the same powers of these beings that they're calling dragons. And they call the people who have these powers Ds, which is weird, but no, it's just weird. These Ds, which is going to sound more and more phallic the more I say it throughout this little spiel I'm going to go through, have the ability to take this substance called dark matter and create it, turning it into any substance, or I think they said phenomenon, on the planet. So I'm assuming that means like you can take this little orb of dark matter that you can conjure up and turn it into anything. Like you can turn it into a weapon, you can turn it into a storm or something. You can create things out of it, and pretty much that's why these people are like really valuable to humanity now that these giant monsters that are doing the same exact thing are attacking. Basically, they said in the very first part that these things were so full of destruction that they could just walk through a place and leave nothing but wrecks behind them. We meet our first character, Mananobe Yu, who's on a beach talking to himself when sudden naked chick happens. Yeah, so there's a naked girl out on the beach swimming around. She freaks out and she conjures up a staff and starts trying to attack him with magic, ends up backfiring and hitting herself because apparently she sucks at it. And yeah, shenanigans happen. This girl's name is Iris, pronounced Iris in Japanese, but Iris is what they spelled it out to be, so I'm assuming that's what they meant it to be. And she is a D who is at this local academy called Midgar that used to be a former place of like just containing all these people with these powers until they came to like a universal vote that these people do have human rights as well. And so it was transformed into a like school, kind of like Professor Xavier's School for the Gifted, where these people can learn how to control their powers in order to combat the dragons that are causing harm to everybody. Our main character is the first male student to ever be accepted into this academy, and most of the girls who are at this academy apparently didn't know that males could become what they are. So half of them are intrigued by him, and the other half are like wary of him because he's a guy and they're not trusting. And the rest of them think that, well, even so, he doesn't belong here. He's not one of us, so he doesn't belong at this place. And it's a really weird, like, role reversal sexism kind of thing, which I don't know if it's just because I'm a guy or whatnot, didn't really hit me as much as like, okay, so he's not accepted at a school full of girls. Okay, it's kind of understandable or whatnot, maybe from my perspective, but at least he's still not being kicked out for that reason. I'm wondering how this show could be different if the like genders were switched and it was a girl being accepted at the school. And I'm almost positive that's been done before. I just can't think of anything off the top of my head. But yes, that's our premise of this show, is that there are giant monsters and these people are here to fight them and learn how to conjure things up with this dark matter and use that to defeat giant monsters. And they show the guy conjure up a pistol to show that he has this ability. Even then, the girls are not impressed. They're like, no, these are giant monsters we're fighting. You have to find something better to use against them. One pistol is not going to cut it. And then we get a demonstration of their powers and all that. And there are actually some pretty cool things. They conjure up a weapon and all that, but not so much as to use the weapon for an attack, but to use it as a like focus point of just hitting the enemies with dark matter, using the weapons kind of like. It's kind of like, why would a wizard use a staff if he could just put his hand out and shoot like fire out of it or whatnot? Why would he use a staff? It's kind of like a focusing kind of thing. They use it so that they can like be like, okay, well this is the tip of my like spear or whatnot, so I'm gonna focus all my energy towards that, so I have like one specific like focus point. And each of the girls has a different style that they use. So it went a bit long explaining how the magic in this kind of thing works. So it kind of lost me a little bit, but other than that, it did seem pretty cool, and it seemed basically like they were just trying to explain magic, which it's magic. It's not going to be very easily explained in the first place. The animation wasn't special. It wasn't special at all. It was actually a bit of a downgrade coming from some of the shows I've been watching lately. It's a bit of a downgrade, but the character designs and everything seem a lot like the style of Higurashi no Nakukodoni's character designs, which, if you guys know me at all, you know that's one of my favorite shows in the entire universe. You know that's one of my favorite mangas in the entire universe, and you know that I cannot wait for the game to get brought over to America on Steam, which has been greenlighted lately. So hopefully it's gonna come over here soon. They've been translating it for about a year or so now. But yes, the characters look a lot like the characters from Higurashi, and I like that. I was looking for I came from a bunch of shows where the characters, while still anime, were drawn more like proportionately right, like in terms of height and everything, or height. In terms of height and everything, they're drawn more like actual people. But in this, they're like in that half chibi kind of form where their faces and heads are like big and everything. Their eyes are huge, but their bodies are like still trying to scale correctly. And I'll be honest, it's not the best kind of animation, it's not the best kind of style, but it worked because I was looking for something a little different now, and even if different from what I've been watching lately means going back to something old. Where the animation did shine is in the combat, in this one combat scene we see in this episode, and they show some pretty cool magic abilities and all that. Like, the girls, they go through a weird transform. They haven't explained why they like go through a magic girl animation transform when they attack, and I'm assuming it's something like, well, they're wearing dark energy armor or dark matter armor or whatnot, and that's what it is. They're just putting their armor on, but they haven't explained that part. The attacks, however, have been pretty cool looking attacks. Nothing too like out of the norm and all that of all magic and everything. Typical stuff like shooting beams or shooting ice or causing a giant shield to come out. Stuff that you've been seeing since like Final Fantasy 1. I will say this, there was one major problem that kept happening in that combat scene though. It's just whenever a giant like flashing explosion would happen or whatnot, the screen would like super dim. They would super dim down to the point where I was like scared that my monitor was breaking. I thought my monitor was like breaking and it was just like dimming out and then coming back up after that. But no, I went back through like 4 times and watched it again and again and again and changed resolutions and all that. It's not my monitor, it's the show, and the show has this weird dimming thing whenever it goes to a bright moment, which really pulled me out. It made me forget that I was watching a show and made me remember that I'm looking at a screen, and that's something that you don't want to do in any form of interactive medium or entertaining medium whatsoever. The music, when nothing was really happening, didn't really catch me at all. However, when the combat scene hit, it like had this techno rock going that sounded really cool and really fit with the attacks that they were doing, and especially since they were in some big like Tron style virtual reality battle chamber kind of thing, the techno rock really like hit the nail on the head in terms of getting the mood down for that particular combat scene. And I'm hoping that they have stuff like that in every fight scene, and maybe even that the music that's not in fight scenes does pick up a bit. But yeah, that's all I have for this first episode. It looks okay. The story seems alright, actually, in my opinion. I'm looking to see more from it. It's currently on its, I think, 2nd episode, so I'm going to check that out. One big thing they did mention in the plot that, of course, pay attention to the spoiler thing, because I always have that up in these because I do spoil things in these videos. They mentioned that these people with the magic have a specific type of magic or whatnot, or a specific mark on their hand that signifies what they are, that matches and correlates to a type of dragon. And if that dragon, because the thing is, the dragons are looking for the pair, they're looking for their other half, pretty much. If a dragon finds the person who has the same mark, that person becomes a dragon, and they've already explained that they've had to put down a student, I think, who turned into the last dragon that they fought, because they went into combat not knowing this, I think, and basically the person got turned into the dragon and they had to defeat the dragon. So yeah, it's pretty heavy stuff right there, and they already gave a little hint to maybe somebody is already going to end up turning into a dragon, so I'm curious. This show could take a very dark turn, and if it does, that'd be a real surprise. But that's it for today. I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, share, comment, do all the socials and everything. I got Tumblr, I have Twitter. Let me know if anything you guys want me to check out, or any video games you want me to play, anything like that. I'm always open to suggestions, and if you guys start chatting down there, please do not put any spoilers if you guys like read a manga or anything that this is based off of, if it is based off of anything. And until the next video, everybody, peace out.